Summer 1941. The skies of occupied France. For 2 years, the Supermarine Spitfire has ruled these skies, its elliptical wings a symbol of British defiance. But now RAF pilots are encountering something new, something deadly. Court tanks Focke-Wulf Fw190, a second iron in the fire. With its brutish radial engine and devastating firepower, it had rendered the Spitfire Mark V obsolete overnight. RAF Fighter Command called it the Butcherbird. Experienced pilots were being shot down by the dozens. For the first time since Battle of Britain, the Luftwaffe held the advantage. Desperate to unlock its secrets, British intelligence planned a daring mission to steal one straight from enemy soil. Captain Philip Pickney, a commando officer, and his friend Geoffrey Quill, chief test pilot for Supermarine, were to paddle ashore on the French coast under cover of night, infiltrate an airfield, and fly an Fw190 back to England. It was an audacious plan, part espionage, part suicide mission, codename Air Thief. The essentials of the plan were as follows: a Royal Navy motor gunboat fitted with direction finding radio would take the two men to a position roughly 2 miles off a chosen French shore. There they would launch a folding canoe, paddle to land, stash the boat among the sand dunes, and spend the following day concealed. Under cover of darkness, they would move inland until they were within sight of the targeted Fw190 airfield, then lie low before dawn. By daylight, they would observe the field continuously, studying routines and preparing their plan. They would slip through the airfield's defenses by stealth and hide as close as possible one or more Fw190s at their dispersal points. They would then wait for the next morning when ground crew arrived to start an aircraft's engine. At that moment, they would strike, driving off or dealing with the ground crew so that Geoffrey Quill could leap into the cockpit and taxi the fighter toward the runway. Pickney would remain outside, preventing interference while Quill got the plane airborne. After takeoff, Pickney would withdraw to a pre-arranged hiding place. Then Pickney would return to the concealed canoe, launch it just before dawn, and paddle out to sea, transmitting radio signals so the motor gunboat could home in and collect him. But fate intervened. The RAF suddenly had the prize it sought, without a single shot fired and without the need for Pickney's perilous mission. On June 23, 1942, during Operation Ramrod 23, RAF Boston bombers and their Spitfire escorts clashed with Fw190s over the English Channel. Among the German pilots was Oberstleutnant Armin Faber, a skilled ace of JG2 Richthofen. In the chaos of combat, Faber shot down several Spitfires, but as the dogfight drifted westward, he lost his bearings, believing he was flying home to France. He instead crossed the Bristol Channel towards Wales. Running low on fuel, Faber spotted what he thought was a Luftwaffe airfield. With a flourish, he rolled his sleek Fw190 inverted and dropped his landing gear, a victory salute, before touching down perfectly at an RAF base in Pembrey, South Wales. Stunned ground crew watched as the Luftwaffe fighter taxied up to their control tower. Sergeant Jeffries jumped onto the wing, flare pistol in hand, and took the bewildered German pilot prisoner. In an instant, Britain had captured a brand new, fully intact Fw190A3, the machine they had spent months trying to steal. Within hours, this priceless machine was transported from Pembrey to the Royal Aircraft Establishment at Farnborough. There, the aircraft was dismantled, examined in every detail, and reassembled for flight testing. Just 10 days later, on July 3rd, Wing Commander Hugh J. Wilson took to the skies in the newly christened MP-499. It was the first time an RAF pilot had flown the aircraft that had so relentlessly outclassed their own. By July 13, the Fw190 was delivered to the Air Fighting Development Unit at Duxford, where it underwent rigorous performance trials and was pitted directly against Allied fighters, including the Spitfire. The results were both sobering and enlightening. The tests confirmed what many already suspected. The Fw190 was an exceptional combat aircraft, fast, powerful, and deadly in right hands. Yet the trials also exposed its weaknesses. In a tight turning fight, the Spitfire still held the advantage. RAF tacticians quickly realized that the German pilot's strength lay not in turning battles, but in vertical maneuvers, diving and climbing to exploit the Focke-Wulf's blistering acceleration. Those who abandoned that strategy and tried to turn with a Spitfire often found themselves trapped and outflown. The Spitfire could complete a 360-degree turn in roughly 16 seconds. The Fw190 needed 22. In a dogfight, those 6 seconds were an eternity. But the Fw190 could roll 360 degrees in under 3 seconds, twice as fast as the Spitfire. In the hands of a skilled pilot, this meant escape routes the Spitfire couldn't follow, and attack angles the British pilot couldn't predict. When the 190 entered the dive, pilots experienced exceptional acceleration. The machine would surge forward with remarkable force, quickly building tremendous speed. This gave German pilots a crucial tactical advantage in the opening moment of an attack. However, this strength came with a critical vulnerability. As the aircraft screamed earthward and the pilot needed to pull out of the dive, the Focke-Wulf became acutely exposed. The recovery phase demanded exceptional skill and patience. Pilots had to execute a gradual progressive pull-out, carefully managing the aircraft's energy state. Any attempt to recover too aggressively or too quickly would cause the aircraft to sink, or bleeding off its precious speed advantage and leaving the pilot dangerously exposed to enemy fire. This delicate balance between exploiting the dive advantage and surviving the recovery made every engagement a calculated risk, where split-second decisions meant the difference between victory and death. Armed with this new understanding, the RAF finally began to strip away the aura of invincibility surrounding the Focke-Wulf Fw190. From that single captured fighter, a turning point emerged. By early 1943, the captured Fw190A3 at Pembrey had completed its mission and was retired after its final flight on January 29. It was officially written off later that year, replaced by a newer Fw190A4, serial PE882, that mistakenly landed at RAF Westmoreland in April 1943. Remarkably, two more Fw190A4s also fell into British hands soon after, both landing in error at RAF Manston during night operations in May and June, gaining the serials PM679 and PN999. By year's end, the Rolls-Royce Merlin 61 two-stage supercharger-powered Spitfire Mark 9 also entered service. At 400 miles per hour and with performance that actually increased at altitude, it could meet the Fw190 on equal terms. The playing field was level once more, and all because one German ace had lost its way and landed his country's most advanced fighter, gift-wrapped, on British soil.